congressional candidate in the
14th
Congressional District. He's running against Congressman Steve LaTourette. Welcome.
Good morning, Anthony.
How many days left?
10.
10 days left. It's been a long campaign. You've been in since, was it January, February?
I'd say, yeah.
Snow was on the ground?
Yeah, I'd say there was a lot of snow on the ground. We were probably in the planning stage before that, but yeah, we actively started probably in January, February.
How's the race going?
Wonderful. I'm having a ball. It's a good year to be running. It's particularly, I think, a good year to be running as a Democrat. You see a lot of issues out there. People are looking for answers, and I'm running against a guy that has an answer of no to everything.
You say it's a good year to be a Democrat. I think a lot of people in the country right now, candidate-wise, would probably say, the exact opposite. It's a tough year. It's midterm elections. How do you think being a Democrat plays to your advantage, or a bit more independent-minded Democrat in a district like this, which generally trends a little bit more to the right? LaTourette's been somewhat successfully reelected every single time.
No question about that. No question, but he's been elected in different times. We're just barely coming out of the worst recession since the 30s. People are looking for real answers, and Steve has consistently made sure that he's never on the side of anything. You can never accuse Steve of doing anything because he doesn't do anything. And for example, in the banking crisis that I always say he caused, that's behind us now, and people want to know, what about the reason that the banks no longer loan money? They're sitting on federal cash that bailed them out. They're writing themselves bonus checks, but nobody can get a loan to expand their business. Nobody can get a loan to buy a house, and yet houses are boarded up in every neighborhood. So I think being a Democrat, you say, we got to do some solutions here. One of the solutions that I'm getting on door-to-door that everybody seems to love is my Made in America idea. And I'll give you an example so you understand how it works. Everybody knows that green energy jobs are where we're going and how we're going to revitalize the economy. And already the government is buying a lot of wind turbines nationwide. It's a good idea. It's going to generate electricity. It's going to decrease our foreign dependence on oil. 70% of those wind turbines right now are made in China, and they're being paid for with federal tax dollars. That's wrong. I was asked at a meeting the other day, they said, surely you wouldn't hold up the project if you couldn't find Made in America parts. And I said, yes, I would hold up the project. If you create a demand, supply will follow. It's basic economics, and that's why I say being a Democrat, Democrats are the party of ideas. And we have ideas on Made in America. We have ideas about why is it that we give tax breaks to millionaires and billionaires, but we don't give tax incentives to a small business that wants to expand. That doesn't make any sense to me. Why don't we give tax incentives to companies that do research and development and get us into the new jobs? For example, solar panels were invented in America and today they're made in China. That's absolutely wrong. I believe that every house in America should have solar panels on their roof, and I think they should be made in Painesville, Ohio. I really believe that.
Made in America is obviously your big theme. You've got some other side themes. What are the beyond this issue, which I think most people really haven't. I don't know that they think about it. It's not an issue that's promoted by other campaigns, but when you bring it up, it really clicks. But what are some of the other issues that you're hearing that are really important?
Well, for example, the smart money is telling me to stay away from health care in America, and that's absurd. I'm a registered nurse. I work in a pediatric emergency department. The way we dispense health care in America today is not sustainable, and it's downright mean-spirited. We've got hundreds of thousands of people in Ohio that use the emergency room as their primary source of medical care. Just this week, I got to send in the form so that my 24-year-old son gets to stay on my health insurance until he gets his footing when he graduates from college. That's part of, they ridicule it as Obamacare. It's not Obamacare. It is a first step in a long journey. We have got to get health care resolved in America so that our manufacturing base can get back to where it was. Look at the abandoned plant Chrysler plant in Twinsburg. Those jobs are now in Mexico. We got to get those jobs back, and we can if we realistically say that healthcare is part of the industrial mix in America.
So healthcare and made in America.
Right.
I know when you started your race, you talked a bit about transportation as being one of your themes, and this district is one of those districts where it borders a urban center that is actually pretty well serviced by a quality transit authority. But beyond, once you hit the border of this district, Lake County, it kind of drops off.
It stops
dramatically.
It stops. You know what I told you when you and I spoke in the spring? If you go to Chicago or Atlanta or Washington or San Francisco, anywhere that realizes that regionalism generates jobs, why don't we have regional transit in Northeast Ohio? Why does the red line start at Tower City and stop in East Cleveland when it should go to Mentor? It makes no sense. That's a federal failure that Steve LaTourette has presided over for 16 years. Haven't laid 1 inch of light rail in this district 16 years. Actually, since 1920.
It's an interesting timing and contrast here, because Stephanie Tubbs Jones was just honored this past week for her commitment to transportation with the new transit center near Cleveland State University. But you look over Steve LaTourette's, how many, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 terms he's been in.
Too many.
In Washington, hasn't seemed to have lifted a finger, to help regional transit at all.
Anthony, look at the blue line.
He openly mocks bike paths and things like that.
He openly mocks bike paths, and everybody knows that bike paths are a good idea for health and for transportation. They're just a good idea. No, look at the. Let's just stay with transportation for a second. Look at the blue line. It stops at Van Aken. Why doesn't it go to Solon?
Yeah.
There's no reason for it not to go to Solon. Steve, as I say, this is a good year to be a Democrat if you're a Democrat with ideas. I'm a Democrat with ideas, and I'm talking about made in America, I'm talking about regional transit, I'm talking about a single step on the journey to reform healthcare. There's all kinds of really cool things we could be doing with federal dollars that we're not doing right now.
10 days left in this race. The odds are seemingly growing by the day against some Democratic candidates in the country. A lot of folks say Democrats are going to lose a number of House seats here in Ohio. You're very confident that you're going to be one of the ones that defy the odds and win this thing.
Absolutely. History's on my side. When I ran for the Court of Appeals in 1992, I lost. When I ran the second time, I won. You never learn anything by winning. You learn by losing. Steve LaTourette won round 1. I'm going to win round 2.
Very good. How many terms are you going to serve?
Gosh, I've never given that much thought. I'm hoping to get one. Hoping to get one.
Very good. Thank you for being with us. 10 days left, and good luck out there on the trail.
Thanks for joining us
Thank
today.
You.